Fox 56 presents Stir It Up with your host, Jennifer Palumbo.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Stir It Up. This week, our theme is pasta perfection. Monica Ireland is a student at Sullivan University's Culinary Arts program. And what are some of the things that people need to keep in mind when they're making their own pasta?
Well, I think one of the hardest things is probably kneading the dough and also trying to decide on whether it's too sticky, too wet, or too dry. So whenever you're making this dough, as opposed to making the pita bread last week, you want it to be a little bit tougher. So you're almost wanting to work your abs, break a little sweat when you're kneading this bread or when you're kneading this dough. That way, whenever you cook it, it's not too sticky. It doesn't puff up too much.
Good things to keep in mind. We're doing spinach fettuccine this week.
Yes, we're going to do spinach fettuccine. I didn't bring any spinach powder with me, but we have a little bit of pre-made right here. But I'm going to show you how to make your basic pasta dough. Normally, you'd use semolina flour, but we have all-purpose flour for this recipe since everybody has all-purpose flour pretty much.
And you're using the unbleached again,
yes,
because we've talked a lot about that in previous shows.
Yes, because it's less processed. So, less processed things are, the better it will be for you in the end.
Especially with pasta. Okay.
Of course. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is, I actually have this in a bowl. Most people will do it on the table, but it can get really messy, and you'll see why. I'm going to make a well in the center of it, so it looks like a little flour volcano. And I have 4 eggs right here. So I'm just going to put about 3 of them in first. If I can get all the rest of that yolk in. And then I also have a tablespoon of both olive oil and cream, and this is actually going to add a little bit more flavor and make it a little bit more tender as well. So we're going to pour that into the center as well. And then we're just going to start stirring it in the center. And this is where it can get messy if you're doing it on your cutting board instead of in a bowl, because a lot of the times you'll get like a breakthrough on the side, and you don't really know where to go from there, so you're trying to chase down all of the liquid. So you're just going to keep working it in towards the center until it starts to form a ball. You can also turn the bowl too. It makes it a little bit easier.
And we're actually going to add color to our spinach fettuccine, but this is the foundation for any pasta that they're going to make at home.
Yeah, and then if you can't find the spinach powder, they make powders for with spinach, beet, and even sweet potato. And butternut squash, which is one of my favorites. But if you can't do that, you can always just blanch some spinach, which we've talked a lot about blanching as well. You can cut it down really, really fine and small. Try to get as much water out of it as possible. See how it's coming out to a ball now. And then you just add it to the dough in this process, or even to your eggs. That's what I usually do to make it a little less messy. Or you can even chop up any kind of herbs and have little speckles of herbs in your pasta. And that's really good to do with like basil or any kind of the herbs that we're going to be using later on in our episode.
A little extra flavor.
Oh yeah, and it looks really nice and pretty. So now we have like a kind of a ball. I'm going to take a little bit of this flour out. Just get it around. So when you knead, you just want to push it away from you and bring it back. So it's really loose right now. We want it to be a little bit tighter, so we're just going to keep adding more flour to it.
Okay.
And so you're just going to keep there and knead it. You're going to knead it for about 10 minutes or so. And then you're going to get it to, get all this off my hands. You're going to get it to where it's a consistency like this. See how nice and hard that is? And then this is a pasta. It makes pasta sheets, and it's a really nice handheld one. You can always buy the ones for your KitchenAid or anything like that. If you don't have this, which most people don't, you can always use a rolling pin. It takes you a good half hour to roll it out. You get a nice little workout as well. But it's the same exact thing. So what you want to do,
get the same result.
Exactly. So you want to roll it through on the widest setting that you possibly have on there.
You've got it folded a couple times too in there.
That's one of the things you want to do. Whenever you roll it through the first time, you want to fold it.
Fold it in thirds. Okay.
And you want to do that about 2 or 3 times before you start rolling it out even thinner.
And the goal is just to get it as thin as possible? That's why you do it multiple times?
Well, depending on the cut that you're trying to make, we're going to be making a ravioli in this episode, as well as a fettuccine alfredo. So for the fettuccine, since we've rolled this a couple times already, you just want to work your way down on the settings and just keep rolling it through. The reason you fold it over 3 times is that you can work more gluten into it, and so it's tighter as opposed to being a really loose pasta dough. So we're just going to keep working it down. And then if it starts to stick or anything on you, all you got to do is just kind of brush your hands with some flour, and as opposed to dipping it in the flour, and just kind of brush it back and forth like that to keep it from getting sticky. And so for fettuccine, we're going to roll it down to at least like the second smallest setting. pushed in there.
It's so thin it won't fit in there.
Yeah, it won't go. There we go. Okay. So it's the second to smallest setting. And then we got a pasta cutter too, because usually when you buy these, you also get a pasta cutter. So there's our long sheet right there. We're just gonna slide this on the end. And this just actually pops into the other side, so now you can, it's got room. Yeah, no, you can do that whenever you come through. So I'm just gonna do one long sheet. So it's gonna go into the bottom. And this is perfect because it just cuts it into the nice ribbons, just like that. And if you don't have this and you're just rolling it out with a rolling pin, you can just use your knife. All you gotta do is just roll the pasta dough over, and then you cut it into
a long time though.
And then you get your nice strands for fettuccine, just like that. What you want to do next with this is actually let it sit out so all the moisture, or most of the moisture, can dry out. And we actually have some right here. And you see how nice and hard it's gotten. Now, instead of it immediately puffing up, like if we dropped this into the water, this is gonna just cook more evenly and not as puffy.
How long do you need to let the noodles sit?
You can let it sit for about 20 to an hour.
Okay.
This has been sitting for about an hour now. And then even for whenever you're making the ravioli, you want to get it to the smallest setting possible on there, because you're going to be basically layering two on top of the other. And if you don't have time to make, pasta dough, it's really easy to go out and just buy 1-ton wrappers, and you can use that in place of pasta dough for making ravioli. And it's very simple.
Okay.
So, and then same here with this. You can buy fresh pasta, or you can always just buy the dried pasta dough in the aisle. So, and you can, play around with the different flavors and whatnot. This is gonna have maybe a slight spinach flavor, but nothing too crazy. So, whenever we come back, we'll just make our two different pasta dishes. And one's really light summer dish, and then this one's gonna be a nice hearty, cheesy dish like everybody loves.
Sounds good. Pasta perfection here on Stir It Up when we come back. Welcome back. Monica and I are making our spinach fettuccine, and right now we're going to make the Alfredo sauce.
Yep. So what we're going to do first is we're going to add the cream and the butter both to a saute or a saucepan, a heavy saucepan, which we have it nice and heated up so it can be all warmed up by the time we add our cheese to it. I'm actually going to go ahead and drop our spinach fettuccine into boiling water. But before I do that, I'm going to add some salt to the boiling water, which is going to be a soft roux. And she's gonna whisk that butter in, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop this in. And since it's fresh pasta, it's only gonna take about 3-4 minutes.
Oh, okay.
It's even
faster. Okay, good.
And then we're gonna come over here. She's gonna be whisking the butter in, and we're gonna start our walnut pesto sauce. And if you have a food processor, that's just great. What we're gonna start with is a cup of each, both parsley and basil, lightly packed, so you don't have to sit there and shove it into the bottom. Then we're also gonna add about a cup to 3/4 of a cup of toasted walnuts. And you want to toast the walnuts so you can pull all the flavors out and all the oils, and you get a better flavor as opposed to just not toasting them at all. I'm going to put 3 garlic cloves in there. The great thing about making pesto is you can all just throw it in there. If you don't have a food processor, you can use a blender at home, which everyone has a blender probably. And about a tablespoon of thyme. And then this is just about 1/4 of a cup of Parmesan cheese from making our Alfredo. So we're gonna put the top on. And again, you just wanna pulse this. You don't wanna just completely, grind it all together. So you want it to be like, nice and textured. And now as it's coming down to a cornmeal size, we're gonna start drizzling in a cup of olive oil. Is that butter melted over there?
It looks like it.
Okay.
Am I going to reduce the heat or just leave it go?
We're just gonna let it go a little bit.
Is that good?
Yeah, when it barely starts to boil, we're gonna add some of that Parmesan cheese over there.
Okay.
So now this has come to a nice good
Okay, our noodles are going.
Yep, the noodles are going to be done here any minute. We're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to this, about a teaspoon plus some to taste. And then we're going to add about 1/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper to this as well.
And you're using kosher salt.
Yes, kosher salt. The iodized salt I find sometimes gives off a funny flavor. So let me set this back here. And this is our nice pesto. So our pasta is probably just about done right now.
And that again, 2 to 3 minutes.
2 to 3
because
minutes.
It's fresh.
Yes.
Homemade.
So we'll pull one out. If I can grab one. And again, you want to salt your water because that's the only time you're going to get flavor in there. Let's see. You want to try a piece?
Sure.
See if it's almost done. Maybe about 30 seconds to a minute more, and then it'll be done. So now that this has come to a slight boil, we're going to pull it off the heat.
Okay.
Because if we cook it with cheese in it, the sauce will curdle.
Okay.
So now,
Am I doing all of it or just sprinkling?
we're gonna start sprinkling some in.
Okay.
So what we want to do is we want to melt it, and then we're going to save the rest of it for garnish. Which
Tell me when to
let's
stop.
do a little bit more.
Okay.
And be nice, good, and cheesy. Just a tiny bit more, and then we'll save the rest for us. Okay. And that's our Alfredo sauce. What I also have here is some nutmeg. And what nutmeg does, as opposed to flavoring your pumpkin pie, is it pulls out the cheese flavors actually. And also if you're cooking with like wild greens or anything, it pulls out the flavors of the greens as well. So we're gonna add a little bit of fresh. If you don't have fresh, then we, just use the grated.
Oh, it smells good too.
Yeah, it smells so great. But you see how it makes it smell a little bit more cheesy also? So now this pasta is probably about done. So we're gonna go ahead and spoon it out, and we're just gonna put it right into the
right into the sauce.
yeah,
Okay.
right into the saucepan. And then what we're gonna be cooking next is our lemon ricotta ravioli. And what we did is we just added 1 slightly beaten egg to 2 15-ounce containers of ricotta cheese. We also added the zest of 2 lemons because we want it to be nice and light and just taste like summer pretty much. And that's gonna go with our pesto. And then we add just, the juice of 1 lemon. We just beat it all together. A little bit of salt and pepper. And like I said before, if you don't have your own freshly made ravioli or pasta for ravioli, you can always buy one-ton wrappers, or you can just buy the pre-made frozen in there. So if you want to just here, you can toss that around.
And with the ravioli too, you can make extra, you can freeze
Yes,
it, you
this
can
is-
make it ahead of time.
It's great because you can make so many of them, and then all you do is you just freeze them. And once they're frozen, you put them into a Ziploc bag, and they keep for almost indefinitely. And it's really good to have on hand for if you want like a quick dinner, you already have raviolis made.
you can go straight from the freezer into the water.
Exactly, and you see how nice and thin the dough is rolled out too? That way it'll cook faster instead of getting like a huge gummy piece of ravioli. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and just spoon some out into this bowl.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab the pepper too, just to sprinkle a little bit on top.
Do I want to leave the extra sauce in there or just dump it all out?
You can dump it all out.
Okay.
So I love cheese and whatnot. And to make it a little bit thick, you can always let your cream reduce a little bit, and then it gets really nice and thick. And I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit black pepper on top. And you see how the spinach fettuccine makes the colors really pop instead of being monotone? It's really good. And then the ravioli is actually gonna cook for just about 3 minutes as well.
Okay.
Because you want the inside to be nice. If you're using like a meat filling, you want it to be cooked before you add it to the inside of it. And that's the other great thing about raviolis. You can pretty much put anything inside of it.
What do you like to put besides meat?
I really love mushroom ravioli. Actually, the other day I made pre-made mushroom ravioli that you can just buy. It's like in the dairy section. But I made it like beef stroganoff. So like beef stroganoff sauce with like the meats and all of that. But then my mushrooms and my pasta were the ravioli, and it was so good. It was really good. I ate on that for about 2 or 3 days.
Sounds like a good recipe for future show.
Oh
There
yeah,
you go.
exactly. So you can really do anything with it. It's really versatile, and almost everybody loves ravioli or any kind of pasta with cheese. So.
We're going to let the raviolis cook during the break, and when we come back, we are going to give this all a taste test. I cannot wait to try it, our pasta perfection. Stay with us for more to come here on Stir It Up. Welcome back. Our theme this week is pasta perfection, but there will be times when you're not going to have time to make your pasta from scratch, so we have another alternative for you. Carl Howard is the CEO of Fazoli's, based here in Lexington. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Jennifer. Really appreciate it.
Fazoli's has been here for almost 24 years, and you have a lot of new things going on at Fazoli's. Tell us about some of the new offerings that you have for customers.
Yeah, so over the last couple of years, we've made a lot of changes to the menu. We've upgraded the menu, we've upgraded the facilities, and actually on Monday, on 4/9, we went live with some new hospitality and some new training, and we rolled out some new lemon ice flavors as well.
You have brought some of the new menu items here. Tell us a little bit about what we have. And first off, the kids items off the kids menu have changed a little bit as well, a little bit healthier.
Yeah, absolutely. So every Tuesday night we have kids night, but we have a full kids menu. It's $3.49, and it includes juice or milk and sliced apples as well with your children's menu item. But yeah, our kids night's fantastic, and we have a great children's menu.
It's a big hit in our household as well. For families who have never been before, it's not just the great deals, the money they're going to save on their dinners, but also you have a lot of entertainment. It's a fun experience for the kids, and they want to go back week after week.
Yeah, so on Tuesday we have arts and crafts, and it's just a great deal, so it's a lot of fun.
Tell us about some of the new menu items that you have for the adults.
Yeah, so these are all new menu items that we've rolled out over the course of the last 6 months. This is our roasted chicken platter. It's got whole wheat penny with a little marinara and some fresh basil drizzle on top, under 550 calories.
There's a real emphasis with these new menu items on reducing the calories in the meals.
Yeah, absolutely. We put some under 400 calories and under 500 calorie menu items, and they're doing really well, and they taste great, which is the best part about them.
Okay, and what is this?
This is one of two examples of our chicken pesto piata. So this is folded over, so some people like to fold it over and eat it. So you can eat it like a burrito if you wanted to. You can just fold it over and eat it like with sandwich with your hands. And then here's another example where you can eat it with a knife and fork, and a lot of people just slice it open. And that's actually how we serve it in our restaurant, open face like that.
I really like the thin crust pizzas that you have, and this is a new item as well. What is this called?
Yeah, so this is a chicken pesto piata. It's on flatbread. It has roasted chicken, a little bit of black olives, some fresh lettuce, sliced tomatoes, a little bit of mayonnaise, and then it has a pesto drizzle on it as well. It's absolutely fantastic.
It's delicious. I've had this before too. This is delicious as well.
Yeah, one of my favorite items. It's a flatbread pizza. It's $3.99. It is a Tuscan chicken flatbread pizza, and it's jam-packed with flavor. It's under 500 calories. It's got the roasted chicken, banana peppers, black olives, red peppers, and it is just really good.
And you have some new salads as well.
Yeah, we've rolled out a whole new chopped salad line. They're all, again, made to order. We toss them for you in the back end dressing. This is our apple citrus salad. It's got some almonds, the roasted chicken, some sliced apples, and it's just fantastic.
And then you mentioned these are new as well. This is the wild berry. Would you like the peach one?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So what's better than spring than two new flavors of lemon ice?
It's delicious.
And both of these flavors came out on Monday. So this is an example of our peach. It's made with real peach ingredients, and our wild berries made with real fresh berries. So it's blended together with our lemon ice, and it's just fantastic.
And Fazoli's, the real push is this is all fresh.
Yes, we make everything to order. I think sometimes we don't get the credit for that, but we prepare everything in-house. We make everything to order, so nothing goes on the grill or gets sauteed until you place the order.
Carl Howard, CEO of Fazoli's, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
And stay with us. There's more to come here on Stir It Up. Welcome back. Our pastas are done. They are ready to be eaten. And Monica, give us a recap of everything that we've done today with the spinach fettuccine and the ravioli.
Okay, so what we did is we incorporated either spinach powder or spinach into our pasta dough when we were making it.
To make it green?
Yeah, to make it green and to make the colors pop. What we also did is we added about a teaspoon of our lemon ricotta filling to our thinly rolled ravioli. If you don't want to do squares, it's easy to also, if you get the wonton wrappers again, you can just put a dab in the center, a smaller dab than that, and then just fold it into a half moon, which is also called agnolotti. So that's what we did. We also made our walnut pesto sauce. Instead of using pignoli nuts or pine nuts, since they're so expensive, we just went with walnuts. You want to make sure you toast them to get the most flavor out of them as you possibly
It's a good
can.
substitute for pine nuts.
Exactly, and the taste is always so great. I mean, you can also substitute pecans, any really kind of nuts that you like. And then we also, added plenty of cheese to our Alfredo sauce. And Jennifer is actually going to finish plating our last bowl of Alfredo. And what we did is we added some extra cheese on top, and we added the nutmeg to pull out the extra cheese flavor of it.
And the instructions that we're giving people for how to make these spinach fettuccine noodles could work for any type of noodle. It just depends on how you cut it
How
and
thin you roll it.
Right.
Even if you wanted to make like really small pieces, you just cut them smaller for your macaroni. And then what we have over here is our lemon ricotta filled raviolis. So what we did is we just plated them out. And these are actually really good flavors for summer or spring, and also with the colors. But to make the colors pop a little bit more, we just added a little bit of cherry tomatoes on top of it.
It's nice a little red.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna put a little pepper on
Yep.
mine.
Put a little pepper on hers, and then we're gonna add a little bit more of these tomatoes. And then we sprinkle just a little bit, lean across, a little bit of cheese on top. And then we have. So you ready to try our dishes?
I'm ready.
Okay.
And you really like the gourmet Parmesan cheese.
I
that you
do.
can get, as
That's-
opposed to the kinds in the.
Yeah, it's my favorite because you can actually taste like the salt particles in it when you're chewing on it, and it's just flavors so much better.
This is delicious. And I can taste the cheese better. And you said that is just by simply adding the nutmeg to
Exactly.
the Alfredo.
Same thing with dark greens or like collard greens, anything like that. It pulls out the green flavor of it so much more. So let's try our ricotta and our pesto. And this is great too because the pesto is a no-cook. All you're worrying about cooking is boiling water for your ravioli.
Okay, great. And we will get the recipe for our pasta perfection on foxlexington.com. And if you'd like more information about Sullivan University's Culinary Arts program, just go to sullivan.edu. Monica, thanks so much.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy your food.
Absolutely. And we hope you'll be back next week for another edition of Stir It Up.
So good. And you see how you want to roll it really thin so you don't get a huge mouth of a noodle or anything like that. I had it once in a restaurant, so I've been trying to recreate it ever since then. They call theirs agnolotti also.
What
So
does that
they
mean?
do a different, it's just the different regions. So I think that's from the Piedmont region. And so like as you travel down, ravioli is from, I think, the way southern Italy.
The Electrolux Luxury Kitchen has been provided by P-Rats.